Hi, everybody. We are the Counseling Geeks. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Dave.
And we wanted to bring you another part in the series that we're doing on trauma to talk a little bit more about, what you can expect. So the last video that we had was all about, when you're first starting out, what to expect in, whether it's just therapy, but more specifically like trauma work. And, just the kind of things that of those foundational pieces that you're going to be experiencing as you get comfortable and as you start therapy. This video is going to be a little bit more specific as far as what interventions you might find as far as, once you start getting into having a relationship, with your therapist, you're comfortable, you're moving forward. So what's out there as far as modalities or what kinds of different techniques you might learn as you go through, your trauma therapy. And so Dave and I were talking prior to this video and just kind of comparing notes as far as like what he does versus what I do. And I'm like, oh, like it's almost identical, as far as and what we do. I think it's just the modality is a little bit different in the sense of, I was telling Dave, for me, when somebody's coming, they're usually coming because I'm trained in EMDR, and that's a very specific modality for trauma, where Dave might start with cognitive behavior therapy. But basically, what you can expect is, and correct me, Dave, if I forget something, but essentially,
Okay.
I'm going to try to combine both of like what we do. And kind of give you an idea of what you can expect. So when somebody's, coming in, you might start your trauma work with just getting some education around what trauma is, what the symptoms are, how it can manifest, and really just understanding what it is. And in two videos ago, we talked about the brain. And for me, that's something that I talk to clients about. Like, this is what happens in your brain when you've experienced a trauma, or this is why you're triggered. So I want things to make sense, and I want things to have clients understand that this is all normal that you're experiencing when you've had an abnormal event happen. So, we talk about the education and we talk about the trauma as far as maybe symptoms or that education, and then we might talk about what intervention we're going to try. And for us, before we do anything, we want to provide you with coping skills, grounding skills, because when we start to get into the actual, maybe talking about it or reprocessing it, then we want to make sure that you are fully equipped to be dealing with the symptoms that might come up, or, if you're triggered, we want you to make sure that you know how to deal with it. So we're going to make sure that your toolbox is full of all kinds of good strategies that you can be using for day to day, or when you're triggered, you know what to do. And so then we might go into CBT or EMDR. But first and foremost, we want to be able to provide you with a ton of skills that you can take with you outside of the session. So Dave, did I miss anything, or do you want to kind of talk about the different kinds of coping skills that you might do?
Yeah. Just like we were talking, Courtney, where we're pretty similar is I know before we want to jump into all of that trauma and all of that, we want you to have the skills to deal with it when it comes to you. So we're going to be teaching you things like relaxation techniques, maybe some mindfulness techniques where it's about, being right here, right now, and being able to be in the moment and manage it. We're going to be teaching you things like uh, the maybe some meditation, maybe some, of course, for me, if I'm using CBT or trauma-focused CBT, I'm going to be teaching you how to, exactly what we're going to be doing in terms of challenging, your thinking and your beliefs and all that sort of thing. So it's about how we're going to do that and what you need to do in those moments. I, of course, realize that, I'm not so great that all the skills that I teach that you're going to follow. So what I do is, see if maybe you can journal when you're having some very difficult moments, or if you can just get out and be able to look up some relaxation techniques, or meditation or whatever, let's say on YouTube or what have you. Or I might give you worksheets that you can do when you're in the moment of trying to process through something or having a difficult time doing that. But we're going to be here we are, we're going to be for an hour in our session, and basically what happens is that we do a warm up to get to the real bad stuff, and then by the time we get to the real bad stuff, you've only processed it for a short period of time, and then our session is over. And so you need those tools to take with you, because just because I stop doesn't mean that you're going to stop processing when you leave. And you need to be able to be prepared that all of this stuff is going to come at you. And you might get a little overwhelmed by it and all that sort of thing. So, again, Courtney, it's about, we call them grounding techniques or what have you. And it's just to prepare you for when something big happens, that you're prepared. So, instead of putting tape on the dam or the dike, that you have all of your construction equipment ready to put a patch on it when you need to. Otherwise, it's going to come flooding out. It might destroy you at the moments, and we don't want you to do that. We want you to process through it at a normal pace, so that you're not completely overwhelmed by the whole situation. Did I miss anything with that, Courtney? Or
Now, did you want to go through like a specific skill, like a breathing skill or a grounding skill, like something that you might find if you are, just to give you like an example, like you were talking about these examples, as far as that.
Right. Just like here, an example would be, there is this technique that I tend to do through, it's actually a Tai Chi technique, and it's both a relaxation, and it's about building confidence in who you are right at that moment. Anyways, and everything always starts with, it seems anyways, with deep breathing. So we're going to go through how to do deep breathing and how to make it go a little deeper than that. So we do a couple of deep breathing exercises, and then we get into some guided imagery where we talk about, being able to, be at one with your world or your universe or what have you, and what that feels like and how that makes you balanced and all of that. And then, being able to ground yourself, where you are, so that nothing can move you, and just kind of being in that moment with it. I also do hypnosis as well, and so actually hypnotic inductions just themselves are relaxation techniques. And so we might do a hypnotic induction, or where you don't go fully into a trance. It just kind of gets you right there to do it, just to get you calm enough, and you can do that. And I'm a big believer in self-hypnosis and the ability to do that. So we may teach you something like that as well. Does that make sense, Courtney?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And to kind of piggyback on what Dave was saying, when he was talking about like the mindfulness and the relaxation, again, I'm going to try not to talk about the brain too much, but like when I think about when you're triggered, that limbic system that we talked about a couple videos ago is what's activated. And so the antidote to that is to make sure this part of your brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, is online. So, and the easiest way to do that is basically what Dave is saying, is to keep you in the moment. And there's, those breathing exercises, some of the EMDR scripts that we use initially are very much guided imagery, and help you maybe contain things or create a safe place in your mind. There's a lot of, when you were talking about Tai Chi, I was thinking about brain humming, brain tapping, that you can do. And and again, there's videos that I provide clients, so we'll do it in vivo, like we'll do it in session, that you can do, but it's really to keep this part of the brain activated. So we deactivate your limbic system. And so, you know, these are just a couple of examples of what you might find as far as those giving you that toolkit, giving you enough. So,
Absolutely.
you know, if something is triggering you in your environment, or you're out and, you know, you're caught off guard, you know, we have then, you know, this toolkit that you can kind of rely on. The other thing that I thought of, and we didn't talk about this, but I'm sure it's something that you talk to your clients about, is I really want to make sure that you have a good support system in place. So
Right.
that's going to be a huge part of trauma therapy, is like, who's your tribe? Who is your corner that you can call if you're really struggling? Or, you know, maybe you've gone through these strategies, and yeah, they've you know, maybe you're too activated and it's helped a little bit, but you need a little bit more. Who are those people that you can call? Who are those support systems that you're going to utilize, you know, when you need to? That's going to be another big component of those strategies.
Right. I'm right there with you, Courtney. In fact, that's part of my assessment is who's your support system, how are you going to use them, and how, what's your access to them. And you know, again, that kind of leads to a question of what's their commitment to you as well. You know, that they are going to follow through with helping you through that moment. So yeah, that was right on what you had said. So yeah, again, all of this is about getting you prepared to do this work, and it's so important. The work is too big for you not to be prepared. So yeah, as you can see, there's lots of stuff that goes into trauma outside of just a certain therapy or a certain technique to address trauma. It's about the preparation just as much as it is about doing it. So, you know, again, we could probably talk about this forever, right, Courtney? But you know, we're going to do more about trauma and how to address it, and what you should be looking for in some upcoming videos. And so, you know, please look out for those as they come. So, all
And
right,
comment, you know, like and share, you know, and feel free if you have any questions, or, you know, if there's other future videos that you would like us to do, you know, please feel free to comment in that comment section. And we will see you in our next video.
all right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
See ya.